Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Really excited and delighted to be joined by somebody who's so phenomenal in the music world that she really promotes placement, which we're definitely going to get into today. She's a musician, singer, songwriter. Welcome, TiaP.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you've become a sensation, and we always like to go back a little bit, and we got to talk about Howard, and in fact, you spent some time there. Talk to us about that experience and how it shaped your musical career.
Howard, I tell anybody that was probably the 4 most influential years of my life, 4 of the best years of my life being there, because as a musician, people often assume, okay, you must have studied music, which I did, but people don't understand my major is actually in psychology, because early on, I understood that there was a correlation between mental health and music, and similar to the name of your show, Music and Medicine, no pun intended. But those two have always been big priorities. And at Howard, I was able to cultivate an energy, a vibe, a source that allowed me to do both in excellence, to nurture myself as a musician with bands and going out and gigging. And, I don't have any family in DC, so it was really making family, making that music, and really, on the education side, making both of those work in tandem.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Who are some of the women and men, too, who may have influenced your music and your art over time?
I'd definitely say 2 huge influences are Missy Elliott and Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
they are the epitome of my inspiration as Black artists and just as artists, period. Lauryn and Missy both being incredible rappers and songwriters and singers in their own right, but running in a crowd that seemed mostly male-dominated. And that seemed to reflect a lot of what I do as a musician, as a drummer, as a rapper, as a songwriter. As singers, it's about 50-50 with, men and women. But a lot of what I do lives in this male-dominated space. And the way that they were effortlessly walking through that, presenting themselves, being 100% themselves, it definitely just gave me great shoulders to try and stand on and just bring my own flavor to that element.
Sure. Well, I'm glad you brought up being a drummer, because that was the first thing I saw and, of course, was attracted to.
Yeah.
What helped you sort of step towards the foreground? Because it sometimes can be, I've had some people that say, I hid back there until somebody called on me, or there was a special moment where I was like, I got to take the lead.
There was never really any hiding. I come from a family of musicians. I'm an only child, so I get bored very easily. So I have to keep myself entertained. And in doing so, my mom sings, my dad drums, he songwrites. So I was always somewhere in the mix of doing all of it simultaneously. Of course, honing in on certain things at certain points, but it never felt to me like something that was in the background. It was just in addition to what I already did as an artist, as a rapper, as a singer. And I don't know, it's just one of those elements. People can hear it in the way that I rap as well. Like a lot of times when I'm working with different producers or artists, there'll be a cadence that I do that to me, it's just, I'm just feeling the groove, feeling the beat. And then once we get deeper in conversation and they find out I'm a drummer, then it's like, oh, that's why, So it's a little bit more implemented in just the percussion of being a drummer, but I implement it into the way that I write and rap as well.
Sure. That's a great transition into rhythm and flow. I know you placed in the top 7. Talk to us about what that experience was like and sort of how you felt it elevated your game.
Rhythm and flow being on a worldwide platform like Netflix, I mean, what's a broader audience in the world? So it definitely was a great opportunity to showcase, even though it focuses primarily just on hip hop, which is an area of my expertise, it definitely allowed me to cultivate other relationships from some incredible artists, some incredible producers, and kind of expose the world to me in a different way that I don't think they really knew me before. Because as you know, with placements, people hear you a lot.
Yes.
So people don't necessarily see you a lot.
Exactly.
And it's the same way with even my theme song I have for the Tammy Mack show on Stevie Wonder's radio station, 102.3 KJLH. A lot of people know the voice, but that really gave them a face to see, like, oh, that's the girl. So since that show, I've gotten from my neighborhood to everybody else's neighborhood. It's been kind of like that recognition that definitely helps along with being an artist.
Sure, sure. Yeah. And no doubt long overdue. They call you the placement queen.
Yes,
Define what that means, because I think before we even through the first couple of months this year, you already had a dozen placements.
Yes, it's a blessing to have that. So, when you watch a show, even when you play a video game, watch a movie, anything that has media and has sound or music underneath it, or basically the music that's pushing the scene or that part of the show forward, that's what placements are. Sure. And so you can have them in television, movies, commercials. And I've been blessed for that to really be my bread and butter as an artist and as a musician. So that's what I do.
Sure.
Pretty much all day, every day.
And tell us how you learned about it. I know we spoken earlier off camera about Tim and things like that, but how'd you learn about that world and how to permeate it?
It's a very interesting thing. It wasn't a world that I was seeking out per se. It kind of found me in different avenues. Right after I graduated from Howard, it ties in. I also act, so I got my SAG card too.
Right.
So once I graduated from Howard, literally about a month or two after that, I got approached by an acting agent. We met on a Thursday. I had my first audition on a Friday, and she called me Saturday and told me I booked it. And that was a Pepsi commercial with Tori Kelly at the time. So, I'm fresh out of college. This is crazy. And in doing so, I also got the opportunity. I was a bucket drummer for that commercial. And that was kind of the first time I realized I would be integrating the acting along with the music. Right. And so that was kind of how I got my feet wet, so to speak. After that, I got approached by a company named Math Club, who has ties with another company called Format. Who is Format? Format is the largest. They own the Marvel catalog. So they're,
large.
They're very, right. Mic drop. And they reached out. They had heard some of my music that was out. They loved my voice. They wanted me to come in because they had music that had already been written, but they didn't have any female voices like mine that they thought could really push it and place it for commercials. So I came in, did a few songs, and the first song we got with them was for an Adidas commercial.
Right.
So from then on, it just kind of snowballed, and having good timing, and I don't mean like tempo timing, turnaround time is a huge thing in this space of sync, because when they ask you for something, sometimes it'll be same day, sometimes it'll be within the next 2 hours, sometimes it'll be, we need this like yesterday. So having that time, that space, that availability, the catalog, and having a group of producers or writers or whatever that you can come to and kind of smash things out really quickly has definitely been of tremendous aid in me becoming the placement queen. So now we go from there to Fox Entertainment Music, where I have to give credit where credit is due to an incredible woman named Mamie Coleman, who brought me on. And that's how I started actually getting my stuff on television shows. So a lot of Fox trailers, Fox shows, things like that. And the sync community, it's big, but it's not.
Right.
So if your name circulates in a certain way, in a positive way, it's one of the best things that can happen. So other sync houses, and, those are companies who also submit music for shows and television. It started getting around. Oh, this girl Tia, she's doing this, she's doing that. And I became like a sync household name in this space. So,
sure. Tell us about just a couple that you really appreciate, and people may not realize that that's you.
One of my absolute favorites as an artist was for a Black Lady sketch show, which won an Emmy a few years ago for that. And having my song Fortune on there was twofolded, because I watched the show even before I knew I would have anything on. And I'm a fan of the show. I love sketch. I love, having Black artists and portraying ourselves and doing kind of in a space that we don't often see ourselves in. So that was an amazing thing to have that on there. And a friend of mine, actually, Skylar Townsend, we went to high school together. She's one of the cast members on there. So it was like, oh, that's my girl. Oh, that's my song. I love it. Like, it's great. Another one would probably be the Google ad commercial, All Eyes on Me.
Right.
Man, that ran like crazy. And I mean, who doesn't know who Google is? They're one of the most, I think they're definitely in like the top 5. I wouldn't even say 500 companies in the world, but that was an incredible one. Also one for NFL. I'm an athlete as well. So that's what I was doing when I was younger, music and sports. So those two would probably have to be, well, those three, I think, are probably the most that stand out for me at this point in time. Sure. But who knows? Oh, exactly. Oh, and I had an Apple commercial. So yeah, that was great.
Sure, Apple. By the way, there's another tiny company. they should manage it, make it a couple of days.
Yeah.
Sure, you have to do it. You have to do
it. Yes.
Our show's called Music and Medicine. Yes. And when you hear those words, how do they resonate on your ear?
I'm sure this has been said before, but music is medicine. Mm-hmm. It is the universal healer. You know, one of my favorite examples to go to is the way, I forget which year it was, but it was a lot of riots and things happening. And James Brown had that concert that kind of quelled the city, kind of quelled everything down in such a way as only music and a true performer and entertainer can do. It's, you know, it breaks barriers of language and culture. It crosses over things that, you know, other mediums may not have the opportunity to, you know, cross over into or go in as deeply as. So it's everything. It's what we need. We all need some
music.
I love that. Yeah.
It is definitely what we need. Speaking of what we also need, I'm hoping you're going to favor us with the performance. Tell us about what that song might be and what it means to you.
So the song I'm going to be doing for you is called West. Yes. If anybody watched the season 2 of Rhythm and Flow on Netflix, they'll know that this was definitely a fan favorite. Yes. I had an incredible time working on this song with the producers and the engineer, and it's basically my ode to the West. And I wanted to keep it broadly specific, if that makes sense.
Hey, I like it.
You know, because I didn't want it to just be exemplary of the West Coast or just, you know, Inglewood where I'm from, or just, you know, California West, which is why in the second verse, I specifically say every city, state, country, and continent has a West side, because there's a West side everywhere. Right. And so I wanted to make it somewhere that people could feel a part of it without necessarily just boxing it off to the West Coast. But I got love for the rest, but I do it for the West.
I love it. And I want to make sure we highlight this point, because sometimes I'm reminded to do this, which is talk to us about how that degree and your background in psychology really helps you not only navigate all these different spheres. You've talked about music and being an artist and being a drummer and actress, and also sports, and then also doing sing placements, to really basically even be a better person.
Definitely. I think we all go into our fields of study, particularly to find out more about ourselves, to kind of tame the inner beast, understand the things, whether it be in our childhood up into our adulthood. And, you know, college is one of those times where a lot of us are just trying to figure things out. So being a psychology major at one of the top, number one HBCU, HU, Howard, you know, it kind of was twofold. It exposed me to a lot more of us in this field, whether it be from Mamie and Kenneth Clark, and just kind of an understanding more so of myself within the diaspora, within the culture, within the evolution of African-American culture, in a way that I don't think I would have gotten exposed to had I gone to a PWI, which I did for high school and junior high. But there was just, there's something about, even outside of just my major, walking across that campus and seeing Black excellence everywhere you go, knowing that everybody here who steps foot on this yard or in these historic buildings is here because they want to better themselves, not only for themselves, but for their community, for their culture. And there's a certain unspoken and spoken unity and a power in that I don't think you'll find anywhere else.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself. We can't do more than try to promote all the HBCUs. I think it's just such a wonderful education, so rich in our culture, and so important for us to know, but also to appreciate and to love and to embrace, not always waiting for other people to award us or tell us that we're doing great when we set the pace. And the next voice you will hear will be that of TiaP performing West. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.